Okay, the recording started. Let me share my screen as well. This is about screen two. Let me first close all the non-necessary tabs. Then we can start. Yeah. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to you guys. Just just ping anyone if it's visible to you guys. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I think yeah we can start. So hi everyone. Thank you for coming this session. So we are starting this Kotlin series where we will be learning about topics basics from Kotlin. Learning about the classes. All those basic things to moving toward learning about collections or those new features which comes up. In Kotlin. So this series will help you to basically to learn Kotlin, and you can implement Kotlin in everywhere basically. So yeah, we'll be understanding the first introduction about the Kotlin, why it's here, why we actually required Kotlin, right, and what are the advantages over languages like Java, right? So this is the session is about. Okay, this is we are starting this session. We are starting the session with the Kotlin introduction, and then this session is basically the first talk about in the Kotlin series. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you so much for joining for today's session. And this okay, so little bit about myself. My name is Ankit Kumar, and I'm currently working at Gojek as an Android engineer. I'm also Android educator as a part of Google Android Educator program. So that's the basic, simple introduction about me. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so when somebody start with the Kotlin, the first question that mind comes up in somebody mind is that what exactly is Kotlin, right? So whenever you start with any language, it's also a language, okay, which is used to build programs, that can run on a system. Okay, so it is also a language that help you to write statement and code that you can write an instruction to perform certain task in the computer or other devices. Okay, so it's just like the other languages, right? So that's basically a Kotlin. It's a new programming language, if you say, and it's basically a build is for targeting Java platform. Okay, so Kotlin is mostly built to target Java platform. Now, whenever Java is using, at different places, right? Either we talk about the front end, we talk about back end, we talk about web, we talk about plugins, we talk about tools to building, desktop applications and all those things. Now, Kotlin is kind of built because to targeting all those platform and places where Java is currently existed today, and it has so much offer to give offers to to developers who are developing for those platforms. It has so many advantages over the Java, right? And still the people who are in currently in Java, their project completely in Java, they can still be able to use the Kotlin in the project, in the same project. Okay, so it has that much of flexibility to the developers. That's why we have the Kotlin here. And when the Kotlin is released from the JetBrains, so JetBrains is the company who is building this Kotlin language by themselves. When they have built it out, people start adapting it up. They wanted to taste what the Kotlin is. They tested out, and also JetBrains company, who's building this library, they are continuously getting features from multiple language. So it's not like it's only all the features is took from Java. It also took some feature from JavaScript and C hash. So it is kind of combination of lot of languages. Okay, so over period of time, lot of features from different language, lot of feedback from different developers who used it before. So JetBrains are still building new features for the Kotlin. You got a lot of support from the community as well. So if you wanted to find out about the Kotlin specific feature, you will find a lot of blogs, a lot of videos on the internet that can help you to get started with Kotlin. So there are a lot of advantages, to get started with Kotlin. And it is, since when the Google adapted it for the Android, it got more attention to the developers, because Kotlin, previously it was Java, which was mainly used to build the Android application. But when the Google announced Kotlin as a official language, because of its advantages over Java, it got, kind of hyped. The graph of the users of the language is got out of the roof, right? So that's why we are here, right? We wanted to know what the Kotlin is, how we can use it, and how it's better than Java. Okay, awesome. So you guys might get the basic idea of what the Kotlin is. It's the new language basically. Okay, let's move to the other part. So if I just give you a taste of Kotlin, this is how the Kotlin language look like. Okay, so Kotlin is basically containing this main, when you starting with the Kotlin, I'm not doing any platform dependent kind of thing. Okay, uh, you can see we have main here. Okay, we have this class, we have this variable. So I will be just providing you some information. I know the person who was here who do not previously done any Kotlin would be like, oh, what the heck is this, like this data class, this fun, this well. Ho- Hold on, I will be trying to explain each of these steps, each of these statements, so that you guys can have a better taste of Kotlin. Why I'm showing you this one? Because I wanted to show what the Kotlin is look like, so that you, when I move forward with the session, you guys can have certain mindset of what the Kotlin syntax is look like. Okay, so just like the Java, we have the class here. Okay, when we add the data as a prefix to the class, it added some extra properties or functionality to the class. Okay, so think like this as a immutable data structure. Okay, that one time when you enter the data, it will not modify at all. Okay, and you have the already built-in function like toString hash code already there. Okay, for this data class. I know it's still too much to digest, but just think like this is the Kotlin syntax for now. Okay, now in Kotlin, when you wanted to create a function, so there are multiple. For example, Java does not. Java start with the void or some data type, what type of data you wanted to return, and then function name, and then parameters, and then open and close braces. But in Kotlin, you have to start with the fun, right? Because function is basically fun, right? So that's why they name it as a fun. If you wanted to create a function, you have to start with the fun. Okay, so fun is kind of like keyword here. Okay, so that's how the compiler get to know, okay, this is function, right? So fun is here is for function, and the name that you wanted to provide is basically this main. Okay, this is kind of entry point for the compiler here. Okay, so when the compiler get executing this Kotlin code, they will look for the main, right? So this is as I told, this is not platform dependent. It's like not like activity or something. This is Kotlin, pure Kotlin, right? If you learn Java, they also have the main, right? Where the Java compiler started executing the code. So this is how in Kotlin similarity. So we start with the main. So we have this argument. So now functions argument, the way of writing is this. See here, you have args, right? This args is basically the name of your argument, and next you have this array. So in Kotlin, you don't have like uh, built-in data type or like different way of writing array. Everything here is a class. Okay, even if it's the data type like integer, float, character, string, so all those are classes here. Okay, so array is also a class here. Array is like a collection, right? So array and the type of array. So this is how you will uh, declare your parameter here, the name, colon, and what type of type of that parameter. And now open braces and close braces, right? This is your function look like. And this val and var is basically a variable. This is how you can create a variable, right? Val is basically a constant, and var is basically for variable. Just think mind as a syntax. We'll move to the function and variable in some time. Okay, so we have person, we don't have, you see, we don't have colon here anymore, right? The semicolon here. If you're coming from C++ or Java, you might be maybe relieved now, so you don't have the colon here. This These features similar to the JavaScript because they also don't have the columns, right? At the end of this each statement, you don't have to write columns anymore. So you can see there is no colon. And if you see the oldest here, so when it will print the oldest, you see the output here, the person name Bob, age 29. There is no need to write toString method for this class, right? To print the class and its value name. It's automatically implemented when you use data class. Okay, that's how you can see the output of this program is oldest is this toString method, which is class name with the attribute with their values, right? This is the taste of Kotlin. Okay, now moving on, the Kotlin primary traits where the Kotlin can be used. Majority of Kotlin will be used anywhere where the Java is using, right? It's server side, it's Android. Now Android, since it's an official language, most of the application already migrated their code from Java to Kotlin. So yeah, I think most of the applications now start building in Kotlin itself. And you can use Kotlin in the command line application you wanted to create. You can use there. You can use, now the KMM is very famous going on, right? Which is use the Kotlin language to build for multiple platform like iOS and Android. So there also Kotlin get used websites, desktop applications. It could be either Windows and Mac. So everywhere where the Java is currently running, you can also use Kotlin there and create the Kotlin application. So advantage was basically the Kotlin. You just learn the Kotlin, and it has, and you can work with Java and along with the Kotlin application itself. So you have two advantages. Okay. And also, if you wanted to build for iOS, you can use this engine, which is basically Intel multi-OS engine, which help you to write code Kotlin in Kotlin, and it will run that Kotlin code on the iOS. Okay. Similarly, Tornado FX will help you also to run. These are the engines basically, who's convert your Kotlin code into different compiler, and that's how you are able to run your Kotlin code in different platforms. Okay. I'm just telling you about the advantages here. Okay. Now let's go to the stuff like the Kotlin is statically typed. So whenever anybody talk about the language, they talk about either it's a static type or runtime typed. So what is the meaning of statically typed? So in the Kotlin, whenever you will create object or maybe variable or something, the compiler will know at the time of compile time. Okay, so when you will, just like the Java, when you create a variable, you have to explicitly provide the type of that variable, right? Either it could be string, integer, or anything that you will create an object or something. You have to provide the type, what the type of this variable. Or whenever you are creating a function, you have to provide the return type. Either it could be a void, it could be int. So compiler will know at the time of compiling, like the language will know, right, that you have created uh, a variable of type string, of type int at the compile time, not the runtime. Few languages like Groovy, they are kind of dynamic type. So when you run a code in that Groovy, it will if you don't provide any type whenever you are creating a function or maybe variable, compiler will not give you any kind of error there. Okay, they will you know they will go to runtime when the code will run on the runtime environment. Then they will check for the what type of data it is. So there are a lot of disadvantage of dynamic type. Is basically, first of all, let's say it increase the chances of crashing a lot. Okay, because come at the time of running, then they are able to see, okay, what type of data is it. If you typed a wrong type of data into different type, for example, you have assigned string to integer variable, and your compiler didn't know at the time of compile, and when you run the code, it will crash because string cannot be stored in the integer memory block, right? Because the size of memory is different, right? So chances of getting error a lot in the dynamic type. But in static type, since Kotlin compiler will know when you write the code, they will tell you, okay, you are creating a different type and you are assigning a different type, and they will instantly provide you the error here there, and they will say you cannot run this code when you are writing it up. See, so that's the advantage of static type, and that is what the static type is. Also, there is one advantage in Kotlin, extra part or extra advantage you could say. Kotlin compiler uses some kind of type inference. So what the type inference is basically, when you create a variable in the Kotlin, okay, you will you don't need to provide the type there when you are declaring and providing a value. For example, you can see here there is a val x1. So Kotlin compiler will look this code and they will say, okay, you are assigning one here, and you are not providing. Oh, sorry, you are not providing any type here. So they will assume and they will assume if you are providing one as a variable, it means x is a type of integer. Okay, so they automatically know it would be a int type. You don't have to write colon and int here. Okay, once again, so you don't have to provide int as a explicit type that x is a type of int. If you are providing a value at the time of declaration, when I declaring the x, I'm also providing a value. So when I provide the value, compiler automatically get to know that, okay, this is the int type. If I provided double quote here, they will instantly know this is the type of string. Okay, so this is what the type inference is. The compiler get to know when you assign a value, like, okay, this is that type, so you don't have to explicitly write of which type of variable it is, right? They already figured it out. Okay, so static type of benefits, performance. So performance in terms of, if you if you know your errors already, right? If you are okay, if you have a function who's returning a string type and you are storing the value of that function in a double type, maybe string type, you will instantly know you are doing something wrong, right? So that definitely count as a performance because it will reduce the chances of error at the runtime, right? Reliability is basically, you can rely on that code on the Kotlin compiler static types, that if compiler allows that function to store the return type in your variable, that means you are doing right thing. You are not uh, mismatching the type of storing function type. Like function is returning int and you are using a variable int to store int value, that means it's correct. You can rely on the static type, because if static type compiler gives you okay to go forward, that means you don't have to do anything. There is nothing wrong with your program, right? So that's, you can rely on the compiler on the static type, right? And maintainability is also kind of uh, I basically, when you have this kind of static type, the maintainability is very easy, right? If somebody write a function in different module and you don't know the type, in dynamic type it's very hard to you have to go there and you have to check, okay, what is the function they are returning as a type, because you can't know at the compile time. But when you are doing static type, you instantly know, okay, they are returning different time, because you get the error, right? You get the warning because they will say required this and found this kind of error you have already seen in IDs, right? So with the help of those things, you can easily maintain the code as well, right? And tool support in the modern IDs like IntelliJ, Android Studio, they instantly provide you the errors, right? When you write the code, right? So those are the tool support, right? They instantly see the inspection of your code, they will see the compile code, they will see the linting as well, right? So because of static type, they are able to do it because it's the compile time uh, work here in the language. So that's how tool support is also there when we talk about the static type benefits. Okay. So far, anyone have any questions? I would love to take. Think might be given too much information. Yeah, you can ask any question so far. They can open their mic, maybe. Okay, let me check. Okay. Sure, sure, sure. Yeah. Here it is. Yeah, here. So reliability is basically okay. So you have your function you have written, right? And the function return type is different, and you are writing the same type of data as a value to catch. Okay. For example, as I said, you have function of type addition, which is sending you return type as an integer, and you are storing that value in the integer. How you are able to rely on that? Because of this static type, right? If I have return type as a double and I'm storing in an integer, it will kind of give me the error from compiler itself because of type mismatch, right? So you can, on the static type kind of compiler, you can rely that you will get the error, right? And maintainability is basically means with the unfamiliar code, right? As I said, in the different module, if you are using different somebody else library and you are calling the function, right? At the same time, it's kind of reliability as well. You will get to know that what kind of object they are sending from that function, right? So that's how you can easily be able to maintain. And if you wanted to update something, you can also update, right? Because of there is extension functions, you can use that feature to, you are already knowing, right, what kind of object they are sending, and because of that you can able to increase the functionality of that function as well, right? Is basically the same, but maintainability is basically in terms of unfamiliar code, and static type help you to understand the unfamiliar code as well. Awesome. What is this statement terminator token? So most of the compiler, like Java compilers, so previously what they supposed to do is they will add the termination token, your like semicolon there. That's how they are able to know this is whole statement, okay, for this line number, and then they will compile for each line numbers. So now you don't have to provide that in the Kotlin as a terminator token or like semicolon. They will figure it out using the compiler itself. They will like mostly I think in a single line they will think as terminal or like terminated as a single statement. That information I can give for now. Hope this clear your answer question, sorry. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, now we move to the fun part here. So, Kotlin is basically, as I tell, is not Java, because Java is more of a object-oriented programming language, but it's more of the Java because as I told, it is combination of different languages, right? So it is object oriented plus functional programming language. So if you're coming from Java, you already know object oriented, which is basically class and then object. Everything will be in class, and then object will be used to invoke their methods, right? But the functional programming, okay, functional program is basically using the function as their top level. Basically everything, in order to do anything you use function there, okay? So in functional programming language, we use mostly functions. Like there's no class, functions are being used to do different tasks, and they are very powerful, right? I'll be explaining you what's the functional programming language, what is the advantage of it. So in once again, yeah, in Kotlin, functional programming language is a first function is basically a first class function. Right? But the mean of this is actually you can use function as anything. You can store the function in a variable. You can pass the function in different parameters, right? You can do everything with a function, right? So function is basically first class in Kotlin. You can work with the function and you can store them, pass them, return them from another function. So that's what the function is, because as I said, Kotlin is also functional programming language with the object oriented programming language. That means you can still use class interfaces and all those things, but you are also able to do um, functional functional programming where function is everything. And also is a Kotlin also provide huge support for immutability. in the functional programming. That means immutability means the object, once you assign the value to the object, it will not get reassigned, right? It's kind of constant. Okay, no side effects. So if you use the pure function that return that means you have a function, right? And it is guaranteed, if it's return a result, it will again, when you invoke the function again it will give you the same result. There is no side effect. It's not like when you call a function one time, it will go, you will get different result. When you again invoke the function, you will get different result, you will not see here. So once the function will provide a result, okay, it is guaranteed that that function will not return different value, uh, until and unless you change the inputs. Okay, so there is no side effect here. And also it's very concise. You can create small functions, and is very easy to maintain. You can store in a different files, and you can use the same functions to remove the repeated work. So you can create for repeated work, you can create a function and you can invoke the same function. Since, as I said, Kotlin gives you the power of immutability. That means, okay, multi-threading safety is basically, let's say you have two different thread running, okay, and two different thread will, there is a chance that two different thread can update your data. Why they are able to update? Because that data is mutable. Mutable means variable. That means that can be updated. But how can you update a data who is constant, right? Since, as I said, Kotlin provides immutability power. Since your object is can't be updated, it's like constant. So it is also multi-thread safe, right? Now no thread can update it because it cannot be updated, right? So that's multi-thread safety comes in the functional programming. Also, if you are creating a different small functions, you are able to easily test it out, right? So it's very easier to test. You can write easier unit testing. Also, very important, Kotlin is free and open source, right? You can contribute to it. Uh, you can distribute to the different vendors, and also you can free to download, free to use in any platform. Okay, that's the beauty of open source. Now, Kotlin is being used on server side and websites and all different platforms. I'm not going to talk about those specific platforms, how you can able to run the Kotlin code in server side. There are different tutorials for them. You can go and check it out. Since this is regarding the Android, so I will be talking more about Kotlin in Android. So Kotlin has a huge impact in Android. Kotlin, once the Kotlin get adapted from Google, to as the official language. The reason I will be explaining here. First of all, concise code. Now, when you write Java code, you have to write two strings. You have to write getter setters. All those things. These are small parts that I'm explaining, but there are other things as well. So you have getter setter in a class. When you create on those classes, your data classes. So you don't have to create those anymore when you're using Kotlin. You can use data class instead, and it will get with some other benefits like two strings hash code already implemented. So when you write in Kotlin, you will see your code is very concise, very small as compared to Java. Okay, so number of files will get reduced, and you can more focus on your feature development instead of creating and learning language. So this interoperability is basically, now Kotlin is powerful language that can easily communicate with Java. Okay, because underneath Kotlin is being converted to class files and all those things. So it can easily build it with the Java. So now you can run the code base, your whole project on Kotlin as well as with the Java. So you can migrate easily from Java to Kotlin. One of the biggest reason why people like the Kotlin a lot is because of null pointer exception. Now, when you are doing Android past maybe 4 or 5 years, when you are doing it in a Java, you will see a lot of null pointer exception, right? We guys are kind of tired of this shit, but still we wanted to keep going because this Java was one of the language that is prominently using, right, in order to write the Android application. But when the Kotlin comes, they handle null pointer exception. Now you don't have to take care of null pointer exception. Okay, they have the null safety, they have null types declared. So with that feature, you will not see null pointer exception. Like not ever, but most of the times you will not see. You will get prevented, right? You will get already known by the compiler. Okay, this place you might get the null pointer exception. So you can handle it there by using try catch or something. So the main reason is this null pointer exception. Now, last part is performance. Okay, a lot of guys will say, okay, Java is already there for a market for a huge number of years, right? And it is very performance language. I agree, but Kotlin is also not less than Java. They have done a survey on the huge code base who is running on Kotlin as well in Java. So there is no difference of performance. Okay, everything is equal. So in terms of performance, you will get the same performance as Java when you are writing code in Kotlin. So you have advantage of concise codes. You can operate with Java. You don't have to worry about null pointer exception, and now you have equal performance as Java. So it's a win-win situation for developer, right? Now let's talk about the build process. So build process is basically how Kotlin code get converted to JVM data class dot class and then executed. If somebody has any question? I heard a sound. Okay, let's see. Is a Kotlin also platform independent? As a language, yeah, it is platform independent. You can use it in, I think, almost everywhere because Java, I think, are being used in, I think, everywhere. So yeah, you can use the Kotlin as different platform, and it's kind of different. Yes, it's an independent platform, like not dependent on any platform. Anyone has any question? Like kind of, we are going to the end so far. Okay, I think people are understanding, right? Okay, nice. Okay, this is Kotlin build process. I will be touring you about high level build process. We might go into depth on platform dependent because see here Kotlin build process is how can Kotlin file can convert it to dot class file, and the build like different build process can depend on platform. For example, in Android, Gradle is used right as a build system to build your APKs. So they use Java runtime, and then Java runtime will convert your jar file and then create an APK file using Gradle system. So it's a different process than the Kotlin build process. So Kotlin build process basically first Kotlin file which is .kt. So you will create Kotlin file extension .kt. For example, like for Java you create .java, right? For Kotlin you create .kt, and that kt file using Kotlin compiler will get converted into .class, which is also like similarly to Java. So when Java compiler take Java class, they will also convert it to the Java dot class, this file. And then it will get converted to jar, and then Kotlin runtime convert it, that jar or maybe whatever file to the application, whatever application you are building. So this runtime works with the system. So in Android, this Kotlin runtime works with the Gradle system, and they both work together to create APK files. Okay. So in terms of server, it might be different. In terms of web, it might be different, right? But the overall structure is basically Kotlin compiler converting to dot class file, and then Kotlin runtime works with the system, any system, any build system, maybe Maven, maybe Gradle, maybe Bazel, right? There are multiple systems. So they work with them to create the application file. Okay. So this is basically the Kotlin build process. Hope you guys like understand the high level language. Now, one more thing, guys. Java Kotlin compiler, most of the things are come from Java APIs. Okay, so they took Java APIs, okay, as their base, and they kind of extend more functionality to that APIs. Okay, so it is very well suited that you are using Kotlin at the place of Java with the extended feature. So Kotlin runtime is also based on Java runtime. Okay, so if you go depth into JVM and runtime systems, so you will find out Kotlin runtime is also built upon Java runtime because it's also definitely a fast system. Now Kotlin tools basically there are a lot of plugins. AS is mean Android Studio here, right? You have interactive shell. If somebody is still building code on Eclipse, they have also support for Eclipse as well. And you have tools like Java to Kotlin converter. So when you try this in the Android Studio, if you haven't tried before, just copy paste a Java code and paste into the Android Studio. The plugin will recognize, okay, this is Java code. Do you want to convert in Kotlin? When you copy paste into the Kotlin file, not in Java. So when you paste in the Kotlin file, they will ask you, like compiler or plugin will ask you to convert it with this help of this Java to Kotlin converter, and they will, see all the efficient way to convert your Java code into Kotlin code. So there are a lot of small plugins installed in your Android Studio that helps you to write better Kotlin code. Sometimes when you write a function that can easily be written in single line, maybe equal to, then compiler will give you that hint. Oh, hey bro, you can convert it to a single line. So that's so much plugins that you got in the Android Studio itself. That's the beauty of using the Kotlin as a language. Now you can go to the Kotlin playground and you can play with the language. So this talk is basically about the what is Kotlin, why we use it, right? I hope I'm able to convince you guys to use Kotlin as official language in the different platforms, either it's a server and Android, mostly Android. So yeah, hope you guys learned something today. Thank you so much guys for being here. I hope I'm able to provide you some information. Okay, I'm open to take if you guys have any questions. Any question, guys? Synchronization as in Harshan? Mhm. Okay. Yeah, super cool question. So for that, I think we have Kotlin coroutine, a beautiful feature to use multi-threading, and that help you to synchronize your data basically. So now you don't have to worry about multi-threading concepts anymore. Anyone has any questions? Oh, thank you. That's beautiful feedback. Thank you, Bhushan. Thank you. I think that's all. Session is recorded already, so if you have any questions, I'm still able to take. Just talking about sessions. Will be provided you guys a video. Yeah, anybody has question? Sorry if I asking too much time, but yeah. Okay. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Okay, I think that's all for the questions. See you guys maybe next time. I'll be telling you guys next like talk, and the next talk on the session is about the Kotlin basics that covers Kotlin classes, interface, variables, all those basic things. So yeah, see you guys in the next session. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Really.